Hello, everyone. Welcome into Hog Zone with Locked On. I'm Robyn Hearn. Arkansas once again falling to LSU and yet another one-possession loss. I'm now being joined from some fellas out in THB 11 down in Little Rock, the Locked On host John Nabors, Tyler Cass, and Nick Luttrell. Guys, we have plenty to unpack with this one, from the turnovers to the missed go-ahead field goal. Guys, we got a lot to talk about.
Yeah, a lot to talk about, but at the same time, it almost feels like not as much to talk about because it's the same stuff we've been talking about for, eight straight games now. There's some new wrinkles. You mentioned a missed field goal at the end, but, I don't blame this on Scott Starzik at all.
No, I don't blame it on him at all. It's just like every other game that you mentioned. It's something else. These little plays here and there that add up and end up making the difference. We literally could have probably just done the same broadcast we did last week and just changed the names real quick, or a couple weeks ago. It would have been the same thing. It's just amazing how this team still finds ways to
just step over. Arkansas drops a one-score game to LSU.
That's right.
That's pretty much how it seems to go. And like I said, it's a play here, it's a play there, but so many of them are the same plays. Interim head coach, fired head coach. It doesn't seem to be making much of a difference, Robyn.
Exactly, guys. When you look at the game, especially with the turnovers that happen early on, even some happening in the second half, what are some other blaring issues that you saw from the team today?
I think it all comes down to, I think I've said this before, but this is the team that has finally convinced me that winning mentality is actually a thing. I'd always dismiss that as coach speak to some extent. But we see it every week. They take a lead into the second half, into the fourth quarter, and then they don't know how to win football games. You mentioned the turnovers. It's weird. That felt like the story of the first half, but then it almost felt like they were going to overcome them. Of course, you wish you could have some of those throws back, but I don't know if in the end that's really what bit them.
Yeah, it seemed like that if you take the goal line stand on the fourth down where you were just inches away, but yet you still couldn't get it in. You think about throwing an interception there. I know that was in the first half, but in the red zone, right there at the goal line, that ended up being costly. That was the thing. It's like what Arkansas has been really good at, third down conversions offensively, they weren't good today. Red zone offense, weren't good today. It's like, again, it's the leaky barrel that every time some piece of water, you get it all clogged up, something else happens. That's just the mentality of it.
I want to say, I think the stat the broadcast brought up was Arkansas had scored a touchdown or a field goal on 19 straight red zone trips until that interception, and then they turn around in the third quarter and do it again. They started a new streak then of 2 straight red zone trips without scoring a touchdown. But, it didn't feel like it was one glaring thing today so much as just like the greatest hits of losses past combined with the missed field goal wrinkle, or the defense just can't get the ball back for 5 minutes at the end of the game. It's always something. They never cease to simultaneously surprise you with how they give you exactly what you were expecting, Robyn.
Exactly. And we take a look at the stats for today. Honestly, Arkansas only had 340 total yards compared to LSU's 390. And you see there with the turnovers and also with the passing game, Arkansas was kind of quiet there, but was able to make things up in the run game. What did you guys see from Arkansas's offense when it came to the passing versus the run?
Yeah, and you got to start, I think, with LSU's defense. And LSU, for all their troubles this year, the defense is legit. And we knew that coming into the game, it was going to be a bit of an issue. I do think Talon made it a little too easy on them. It doesn't matter how good or bad a defense is. If you see 3 of the wrong color jerseys and 1 of yours, probably best to leave that one in the holster. But, you almost, again, this offense will go as far as Talon Green takes them. But it felt almost kind of like, as far as that run-pass balance, I wanted to see more of the run game earlier on, specifically more of, the Talon Green run game. That's what scored the first touchdown. That's what seemed to work at times, but you just never felt like they committed to one thing.
Yeah, it seemed like that they would have one thing go wrong on one element and they'd get away from it for a while. And again, I don't know if Harold Perkins had a bully that was a pig as a child, but that guy just loves getting after Razorback quarterbacks and love causing havoc. So LSU's defense was incredible. I got to give them credit, but yeah, they just couldn't find any. Arkansas's offense could not find any consistency. Nothing that was really working drive to drive. I mean, each drive seemed like it was its own identity. You never knew what was going to happen after that.
It was going to end some way in some kind of heartbreak. Yeah, each drive really felt like each game.
That's right.
You knew how it was going to end, not well. You should know exactly what was going to go wrong.
That's true. And then after the game, interim head coach Bob Petrino talking, saying that the locker room was hurt, but they will keep fighting in this one, but they just have to get something going. Take a listen.
You just keep working at it, and we got to find a way to win. You know, we've had, like you said, different ways that we've lost games. So these guys are not going to quit, though. They'll keep fighting.
And I mean, they're going to have to, especially with Texas. We'll talk a little bit about them, but they're taking on Georgia, obviously. I mean, guys, what are you hoping to see from this team moving forward with 2 games left in the season?
I'm going to be 100% honest here, and this is going to sound incredibly pessimistic. What am I looking forward to see the rest of the season? The season come to an end. You can win these last 2 games, and I don't think there's not going to be a silver lining even. You're not going to feel good no matter what happens the rest of the way.
It'd be funny to me. Like, it'd be funny if they beat Texas. It'd be funny if they finally beat Missouri, but that's kind of where you're at, because I agree. I think everyone's just wanting the season to come to an end, and then we can get on, moving on with the coaching search and finding out who's going to be the next head coach. But overall, it's like I keep waiting to see what new way Arkansas finds ways to lose. And that sounds bad, but it's how it is all the time. Arkansas has a plus 19-point differential this season, and they're 2-8. Just unbelievable stuff. So.
They got blown out in one game.
Exactly. Exactly. And I'm hopeful. I want Arkansas to win just one of these games for the players' sake, for Petrino's sake. Like, everybody wants one of these games to happen that way, but they just don't.
And like I said, for the players' sake, yeah. to their credit, I mean, these are still 1-score games every week. They're not letting go of the rope. They are still giving effort. It's just who they are.
That's their identity. That's what it seems like.
Well, speaking of the players, we take a look at their stats today. Taylen Green kind of quiet on the passing front like we talked about, but Mike Washington getting a touchdown there, and Taylen had a rushing touchdown himself. But those 2 interceptions is what I'm circling for Green, and that's been kind of something that's been, I don't want to call it his Achilles heel this year, but that is a blaring issue. Guys, what do you think about all this?
Yeah, the only reason I wouldn't call the interceptions Taylen's Achilles heel is because I think the heel is too small. It's like his Achilles leg, and he is so good. And I said it before, the team will only go as far as he takes them, and there's a reason he is so high up in the country in pretty much every positive stat. He's also second in the conference in interceptions because that is what comes back to bite him. And it was the kind of word on him going into the season, we saw last year, was, man, there's so much there physically, but decision-making just has to speed up a little bit. It has to get better. And, I mean, at this point in the season, I don't know if it can get better. I mean, that's just kind of, you get what you get with Taylen, which is all these amazing plays. He's going to run the offense real well, and he's going to make a couple boneheaded throws.
Yeah, I mean, that's what this team is, and that's who he is. We're at this point in time where there's not going to be anything that changes. It was a matter of, like, you see so many plays, like on that 2-point conversion where he went full Michael Jordan type of hurdling there with that play. It was incredible. But then you see some of the bad decisions. It's like, you have to be able to mix the good with the bad, and you have to have a lot more good than bad. That's who Taylen is, and that's fine. But the problem is because of those 1-score games, the smallest amount of mistakes will be the difference in them. And sometimes Taylen makes one too many mistakes that ends up costing Arkansas a game.
You don't want to put it all on Taylen, of course, because, again, he is so much of the positive as well. But it's just the rest of the team is not built to survive mistakes like that. And a good football team, Taylen Green could be the quarterback of a good football team, throwing just as many interceptions as he does now, if the rest of the team was able to kind of fill in those blanks. He's kind of required to do it all himself, so I think that those interceptions, Robyn, like you said, really get magnified.
Exactly. You guys made some excellent points. We have plenty more to get into right after this quick commercial break. Don't go anywhere.
Hog Zone with Locked On Razorbacks is sponsored by Bet Saracen, Arkansas's favorite sports betting app.
Welcome back into Hog Zone with Locked On. I'm Robyn Hearn and joined with some guys from THV 11, also Locked On host John Nabors, Tyler Cass also there as well, guys, looking great. As we put a bow on this game from LSU, Arkansas, the players, how do they even stay motivated right now, especially when you guys have lost 8 in a row?
Yeah, I feel like we've kind of been asking Bobby Petrino that ever since, he took over as interim head coach. Hey, what do these guys still have to play for? What is going on in that locker room? This, honestly, in his postgame press conference today, it was one of the first times he's kind of admitted, yeah, I mean, the guys are down. Like, it's not great in there. At the same time, he kind of goes back to always, and I do appreciate this about Bobby, where he's adapted to the times. Hey, it's about them getting something on tape. It's about where are they going to be next year, if it's here or somewhere else. No matter what, if they want to play football, they got to have themselves on film in SEC games looking good. So there's at least that individual motivation. As for playing for something bigger, I mean, you'd hope so. It's just kind of hard to see that at this point.
Yeah, I mean, what can you possibly be playing for when you have 2 games left and you're on an 8-game losing streak? And all these games being so close. That's what makes it so unfortunate for these Razorbacks, because you feel like if they just would have had one of those games go their way earlier in the year, it could have changed this entire dynamic. It could have changed the entire rest of the season. It could have changed their mentality. It could have changed the locker room. But at some point in time, when you keep getting so close and you keep having the same results of losing, it's got to wear on you. And I'm proud of the team, and I'm happy for the team to keep doing it. But at this point in time, I'm with Petrino and kind of what he's saying. He's like, let's be real about this. You got to get some stuff on film. If you want to keep playing, you got to do something about it. Play for yourselves, play for each other, play for the team. But as far as any type of success that's going to happen this year, I think we all know this is pretty much it.
Like I said, if just one of these games a month ago gone the other way, because you can use, we're so close, I think, as internal motivation at very least. Hey, look at this. We just changed this. You got to win. But at a certain point, to crib from basketball, you got to see the ball go through the net for that to work. 2 one-score losses, yeah, you could be preaching, we're right there with them. All we got to do is this. That's what's going to keep you motivated. But 7 one-score losses, I don't remember the exact stat. I saw someone had it online. I think they're now one of 12 teams ever with at least 7 one-score losses on the season.
Ain't it great? Yeah.
And they can't even set that record because there's only 2 games left, and 2021 Nebraska, I think, had 9, so they can only tie the record.
Thank goodness.
But, yeah, not a record you want to be playing for at this point in time.
I was about to say, I don't think that's really something that I'd want to be in company with, but like you mentioned, the players, they kind of need to do something, especially if they want to transfer or even try to stay at Arkansas after this. And for the players in the locker room for themselves, they said it's frustrating, but they have to finish and they have to keep the faith. See what Mike Washington said.
All these teams that we've played they've been beatable, So we know that the next 2 teams that we have, we could beat those teams. Like I said, we have a lot of pride and passion. That's something that won't leave us at all. So that's the mentality and the mindset that will never change.
Yeah, and they're going to have to try to keep that, especially with these last 2 games. But, guys, as we kind of look forward, as we kind of, put football on the back burner, kind of get to basketball, there's also a head coaching search in the middle of this. Have you guys been hearing anything, or what do you think Arkansas is probably going to end up doing?
I hope, at least, we're just going off my opinion here, that what they end up doing is hiring someone who is not currently in the building. I know Bobby Petrino has the track record of winning at Arkansas. He's done it before, but, I mean, if today cemented one thing in my brain, it's that you got to burn it all down. You got to start from the ashes here. I think it's a complete program reset that needs to come. I mean, you could just start throwing names out there. It doesn't look like the James Franklin thing is going to happen anymore. People online want you to start talking about Ed Orgeron. I hope that's not a thing that's happening. And then I still go to the up-and-comers. I know Arkansas had probably the worst experience you can have with hiring a Group of 5 coach, but you can't let that burn you. Pretty much every major college coach who's had success was one of those up-and-comers at some point. And we've almost reached what do you have to lose territory.
Yeah, because if you think about an established coach, you did that with Brett Bielema, and that didn't really work out. And so, yeah, you're getting to a spot to where it's just Razorback fans are scared because they're seeing these other programs around, like the Ole Misses and everybody that's having success, and they know how important this hire is. They know how important it is for the future of the program. And I'm with you. It needs to be a hard reset, complete and total just makeover. And not even just from a coaching perspective, but I've always felt like even administrative, not saying anyone needs to lose their job, but just saying the culture that's been there, and it's been there for a long time, you just need to have new energy. You need to have a new positive feeling towards it. And what does that mean? Does that mean bringing new people in and taking old people out? I don't really know, but there's no doubt that these one-possession games, it's been going on for over a decade. There has to be something that Razorback fans can start believing in once again. And I think it's bigger than just hiring one single coach. It has to be an entire mentality and culture change.
And to that mentality, I mean, we're in an age of college football where excitement matters. It's no longer, a decade ago, 15 years ago, excitement around a new head coach, but that's just the fans and something new and who knows. No, now excitement is what brings in money. And even more so, honestly, than who they hire, it's how much can they raise for that guy. And that, again, it all comes back to that with the hire. Yes, it's important from a winning games, from a cultural reset standpoint, but none of that happens unless whoever they bring in makes the people with much fatter wallets than mine willing to open those wallets.
Yes, but they have to open them up. They have to be able to believe in it. And you said it. It's like you have to have energy that goes into it. And since this has been going on for so long and the losing and all of that, Razorback fans are just, they're exhausted is really what it is. They're exhausted by it. And if you want to be able to provide them something to fork over their money, because that's the biggest belief you ever have is when you're forking over your hard-earned dollars, it's got to be somebody that can bring in the excitement and the energy that is desperately needed here, because you want to be a cool school again. And right now, you're just an afterthought in the SEC. Yeah,
the worst thing that can happen is apathy. You need people happy or angry, at least the way I look at it, because as soon as they stop caring, that's the real danger zone for the program. And I do think people are going to kind of check out these last couple of weeks. If same thing happens next week against Texas, I don't even want to think about what Thanksgiving, post-Thanksgiving crowd is going to look like against Missouri. But the hire, again, to go back to that, you got to inspire something. And I don't care if you bring in someone who comes in guns blazing and doesn't go, oh, man, I'm so happy to be here and things are going to be great. They can come in and be negative they want. They can go, hey, you guys have sucked. This has not been good for a long time, and I'm going to come in and change that. You need either positive energy, negative energy. You just need energy. As long as Arkansas can avoid, making a hire that makes the collective fan base go, I don't care, that's going to be the most important thing to me.
Well, I was going to ask you guys about the qualities. Kind of put yourself in Hunter Yurachek's shoes, because he said that he kind of wants to mirror what they did to get Coach Cal here. For you guys, especially since you mentioned all the different coaching hires that Arkansas has had in recent years, what are you looking for or what are you hoping to get from when you're doing this coaching search?
Well, if he wants to mirror kind of what got Cal here, and I put myself in Hunter's shoes, I'm calling everyone I know who's a Razorback fan that has a lot of money, and I'm saying, hey, which Hall of Fame coaches are you friends with? And that's I'm saying that mostly facetiously, but it worked once. It can't work again. I don't run in circles of people who necessarily, as far as I know, have hundreds of $millions at hand, but it sure seems like they are friends with some coaches. So maybe you start there, because, again, I do think that it's the state of football in 2025. That is the number one thing for me is excitement, and that excitement will lead to money. So, yeah, if I'm Hunter Yurachek, that is the quality I'm looking for. First and foremost is, will this hire get me, not just money for the coach, money for the coaching staff, that NIL/revenue share, whatever we want to call it next year, that war chest, something to compete. It doesn't have to be Alabama. It doesn't have to be Georgia. But you want to get into that top 5 or 6 range in the SEC, I think, money-wise. And if they can hire a guy who inspires that first and foremost, yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
I think it's just a mystery of how much each school spends, because no one knows exactly. But what you do need to have is just as much as you can get. And it needs to be a collective effort, no pun intended, but it needs to be a collective effort from not only the big boosters and the Tysons and the Waltons. It's like, yeah, that's definitely needed, and you have to have that. But if you can get the common fans involved somehow, even if it's just $10, just something to where like a collective group that can come together, you need all the help and all the money that you can get to make this thing work. And it goes back to the whole thing. If Razorback fans feel excited and feel like it's something they believe in, they will give money. They will support it. You just have to be able to have somebody in place that's going to be able to make everybody pop up and say, instead of doing this with my money, I want to give it to the Razorbacks because I want to see my football program great again.
Now, as far as the on-the-field side of things go, what would I be looking for? I lean more offensive in this day and age. I just feel like there's a lot more things that have to go right if you hire a defensive-minded coach, whereas if you hire a guy who's offense first, that kind of does bring that excitement along with it. Maybe they bring a quarterback along with them because, of course, we all know it starts there. And at very least, if you're putting up 50 to 60 points a game, you could figure some things out. That's as far as on-the-field merit, that's what I look towards.
Yeah, I think offense at a place like Arkansas is always going to be the cue to make it work. I mean, some of the best teams in Arkansas history have always been offensively driven, especially when Petrino was here. So I think if they do that, do a lot more, they'll have something going for them, but they have to get somebody with an identity.
Well, guys, hopefully those questions will be answered here soon, and we'll be right back with a final look at what's next for Arkansas football and even maybe talk a little bit about basketball. Don't go anywhere.
Hog Zone with Locked On Razorbacks is sponsored by Bet Saracen, Arkansas's favorite sports betting app.
Welcome back into Hog Zone with Locked On. We're going to put a nice bow on this one. There's one final road trip for Arkansas, however, as they're heading down to the Lone Star State as they're taking on number 10 Texas. And I'm bringing in my guys down at THB one more time, Tyler Cass and Locked On host John Nabors. What are you guys hoping to see from this team against the Longhorns?
Like 2 more points than they scored today, at least, yeah. Look, Bobby Petrino did say after the game he's going to get with the guys and try and explain the history of this rivalry so that they know what this means to the fan base, to the donors and all that. We'll see if that moves the needle. But, yeah, I mean, John said it earlier, all I need to see is a win. Anything else is not really worth it at this point.
I know, and that's the deal is you don't want to go 0-for in the SEC because that would be the 4th time you've gone 0-8 in the SEC since 2012. And that's just really awful. So you need to have something to at least hold your hat on. And it would just be hysterical if it happened to be Texas. And maybe you're the reason why you kept them out of the playoffs or something like that. Like, you got to have something to fight for. So we'll see. Rivalry games, SEC games, anything can happen.
Well, thank you guys so much for joining us today. We'll be right back